Hello, welcome to the Lalantia Show. Today I'm going to talk about the she. So that's spelled Sidhe. So you may have seen the word around and not known how it's pronounced. So it's pronounced she. And it's an interesting topic and one that I'm trying to cut down and keep it really, really super short because there's so much, when there's topics that I could talk about for hours, it's hard to keep it down to 10, 15 minutes. So hopefully I will get through everything that is most important to share here in this video about who the she are, because they have a lot of messages that they want to bring through, and so those will be future videos, but I wanted to start with this and just do a little introduction. But first of all, if you are new here, welcome. My name is Lalantia. I'm a psychic realm channeler and energy healer. I specialize in working with the magical realms. I work with dragons, unicorns, mermaids, fairies, all of the different magical beings. And it really is all about coming home to you, who you really are, who you are authentically outside of any boxes, and standing in your wisdom and your power and your truth and your purposes. I help you to connect to that within yourself, and a lot of that is done through the different magical beings. So the she are some of those magical beings, but they are our closest relations. They are not really so very different from us, but way, way back when our people split, so humans split from the she, humans choosing to live, ignorance was a word that came up, but that's not really fair to us. When we chose to forget and to live shorter lives and to have experiences in a different way from them, the she chose to split and live in nature, with nature, in tune with nature, caring for the earth, caring for the plants. And they chose that path of deep connection to purpose and caring for this planet. We chose to have, to have experiences in a different way. So we split off from the she way back. Some would say around the time of Atlantis falling, but I didn't actually channel on that in this moment, and I probably have in the past, and that's the time that I'm feeling it was, but I could be remembering wrong. So we actually, they're showing me that it was some in that time, and that it was some in the time of Avalon, later in the time of Avalon. So in that time when it became unsafe to be in the world of man, then they split even further from us. So the she are, some would categorize them as a type of fae, but they actually are quite different from fairies that we typically talk about. So we often talk about fairies that are that live in the forest, and they can be very small. I see them as all different kinds of shapes and sizes and colors, and with wings, without wings. There are some that, they come up to about my knees, some that come up to my waist. There are some that are itty bitty teeny tiny. There are some that are a bit bigger. There are some that fly around on birds or on insects, on butterflies, and there are some that just fly themselves. There's so many different kinds of fairies, and some people have different ways of differentiating between the fae that are the she and the fae that are what we typically think of. Well, at least what I typically think of. I can't speak for you. So the she are more human-sized. I see them as usually tall and thin. They can be taller than humans. That's what I have seen is pretty typical. They are very ethereal, in the sense of they're not fully in the human world. They're not in the human world, but they are. They're in a dimension that is separate from ours, but they are still here caring for this planet. They can also be found in the center of the earth. I see them as generally very, very beautiful, almost unreal in a beautiful way. Like a lot of, when I talk about fairies, a lot of times I'm talking about these beings that are not beautiful in our conventional human standards. The Sidhe I do see as not conventionally beautiful by human standards, because they're different, but they are incredibly beautiful. Like you look at them and you just see a different kind of beauty. Now, just like with other beings, they can not always be for our highest good to connect with. So it's always important to set really clear intentions. But most of them, in my experience, are going to be, if they're coming forward and willing to connect with us in the first place, then they have a purpose themselves to help us to remember and to reconnect with that magic, and to work with us that we can live our purpose, so that we can do the things that we're here to do, because we are here to create a new earth. We are here to heal. Well, the planet will heal herself, but as we heal ourselves, then the planet can heal. And as we change our ways, the planet can heal, because really the planet is fine as what we do to it, right? So as we heal and we choose differently for ourselves, we choose to for example, stop using plastics. We choose to live more simply. That has been one thing for me. As we choose differently and we heal our traumas, then we help the earth heal. So the Sidhe and other beings as well, but since we're talking about them, they help us to come back to that center. They help us to come back to ourselves and to remember that our greater purpose is here, and the things that we are here to do, the impact that we are meant to make, and the ways that we can manifest and create the new earth. You know, each of us having our own roles, our own purposes that are a part of that. So when I connect with the Sidhe, they speak to me pretty clearly, telepathically, but not all want to speak to us. You may find that you may encounter them more likely if you are in what they have said before is the Emerald Isles. So if you are in the UK and Ireland, then you may be more likely to encounter them. Maybe not accidentally exactly, but you may kind of feel their energy and their presence when you go out into nature. Now, I live in the Pacific Northwest of the United States at this time, but when I went to the UK, the energy was very different, and it did feel, I don't know if I should say easier to connect with them. It was different. It was a different kind of connection, because it was as if I could feel them more in a physical way. Now here, when they show up for me, when the Sidhe show up for me, because there are lots of fairies around here, but when the Sidhe themselves show up, it is usually more of just an energetic presence. Now, they can come through portals. I have had the experience mainly has been with elves, and some say that they are the same, and I'm not going to go into that today, but they can come through portals and show up for us and help us. But energetically, like in the other worlds, stepping through that that energy that's keeping us from seeing them clearly, when we go on shamanic journeys, for example, then I can connect with them, or they will come to me, bring their energy to me and communicate with me. Like I can tune in here and now and just channel what they have to say. But it's not the same as when I'm like in the UK or in Ireland. I haven't been in Ireland yet though, so I can't give that as an example. But when I'm in the UK, then I feel their presence differently. So I don't know how other people experience it, but this is my experience, and perhaps that will change. Maybe they will become more present here. I really don't know, and maybe I should look into that more. Maybe that'll be another video. But that is a bit of who the Sidhe are, just kind of a snippet, because there's so much more. I see them as kind of a royalty, maybe for lack of a better word, but very very royal. Very royal. That's like the best way of putting it. They're very confident, very secure in who they are. They live very purposefully, and they do not doubt they don't doubt themselves. They don't doubt their greater purposes, and they can help us to connect with that energy and to remember what we are really here for. So I'll end this video here, and I'm excited to share more little bits and pieces here and there. But if you have questions, post them below. And if you have things to share yourself, then please share your experiences and your stories. You know, we all have our own truths. And what I always say is take what resonates, leave what doesn't. I definitely do not know all. I only know my own experiences, my own perspective in my experiences, and what I have channeled and received in my own shamanic journeys. So I'm definitely open to other people have to share as well. And if you are interested in connecting with me more, I have a free group called Sorceress Circle. It is on Facebook. The link is below. I also have a membership group called Realms of Empowerment. I run both groups actually with my friend Natalie, and we do all kinds of amazing shamanic journeys. In Realms of Empowerment, we are getting ready at the time of recording this, to do a 4-month series that is really about deepening our connection with ourselves. And that is with the dragons that are leading that. You can also find me on Instagram. And if you feel called to reach out to me, if you want to connect with me, I do encourage you to do so on Instagram. I'm figuring out my contact form on my website because you guys aren't getting my replies as far as I can tell. So message me on Instagram if you have any questions. If you are interested in working with me, my website is linked below, so you can see what kind of sessions I have available. But if you have questions about any of that, just message me on Instagram. Thank you so much for joining me today. I am excited to see you on the next video. Bye.